Welcome to the IVM Podcast Network.
TFG Fantasy Cricket is an IVM production, and you can also check out their other awesome shows like Drinks and Destination, a handy guide to the world of wine, spirits and more, along with a dip into travels around the world.
You're listening to TFG Fantasy Cricket.
Hello everybody, welcome to yet another episode of Fantasy Cricket Podcast.
After India has thrashed Pakistan.
So, that was CP Thomas for you. CP, we expected India to beat Pakistan convincingly. But
let's not get into expected to beat and convincing, all very nice words in hindsight.
पेपर में देख के तो वही लग रहा था ना.
हाँ, अभी वो तो था. It was very clear. If India batted, if the top order performed, there was no way they were going to lose the match. And especially if Pakistan was going to chase a huge total, you didn't need to, you just need to see that you didn't bowl wides and no balls, and the pressure was bound to get to them. And as we have seen, the fielding on both sides was atrocious, but still...
But India had the batting to actually
overcome that. Yeah. So there was no hope of Pakistan except to contain India, whether while setting a target or if India was chasing. The only I think in the podcast discussed that scenario at least thrice, saying that it has to be 24-3 with Dhawan and Virat back. If these two didn't perform, then the pressure would have been on others, and then it would be a different game altogether.
Somewhere down the line, Rohit Sharma will be surprised. मैंने 90 कैसे मार दिया?
नहीं, वो अभी देखो यार, you look at the bowling, everybody is talking about how weak is a wrong word, but they didn't perform to expectations. And
no, it's not a weak bowling line.
Absolutely, yeah.
They just didn't click. They didn't have. When you opened with Imad Wasim, when Mohammad Amir bowled the over of the tournament to Rohit Sharma, and for a moment Rohit had to be reminded, boss, this is not the Wankhede wicket you're batting on, and this is not some ordinary bowler charging and bowling at you. This is Mohammad Amir and this is Edgbaston. The ball is going to nip around, and when you know as a captain and you are standing behind the wickets, I'm talking about Sarfaraz Ahmed, when you know the ball is doing so much and the Indian batsmen are vulnerable, why introduce a spinner from the other end?
Yeah, it's almost like they played in no strategy. There was nothing. You just came in and you wanted to play a match. And
they let India off the hook.
Yeah.
They saw Imad Wasim, they said, okay, wow, mast mein aankh khol ke, we'll place the ball here, we'll put the bad ball away. By the time they reached the 7th, 8th over, they had got acclimatized to the conditions.
Yeah.
Then it was very, very difficult to stop the onslaught. Virat Kohli, Yuvraj Singh, they dropped Yuvraj.
See, we have on paper we have a huge batting line up to Jadeja, who can come and actually get.
Well, MS Dhoni didn't. There was no need for MS to come and bat.
No, that was no need.
Not required.
Yeah, absolutely. So
just goes to show.
It's only the 4th time in history that the top order, everyone has scored a 50. So you can, in our entire history, this is the 4th time we have done it. So that means it just shows that there was no other way. We had to win the match if this is the way it is going to be.
Once we had 300 plus on the board, Pakistan were out of it. In fact, I remember telling a few people 250 is enough, because when you open with Azhar Ali, yes, I know he got a 50 of 62 balls, but his ODI strike rate is worse than Cheteshwar Pujara's test strike rate. Now, I cannot understand. I have been saying this. I know I haven't played cricket at the highest level, but you know what is happening. And for me, I cannot accept the fact that Azhar Ali is opening the innings with Ahmed Shehzad, who is an imposter Virat Kohli, and was. I have a मेरे को लगता है he should just stick Virat Kohli's poster in his bedroom every day and just देखता रहना चाहिए. That's all. All this frivolous comparisons and too much hype and expectation around him, total disappointment. And then you're talking about Babar Azam, Mohammad Hafiz and Shoaib Malik. What's the point of asking them to bat at 4, 5 and 6? They are your best batsmen. When the game is well beyond you, आप बोलते हो now go and slog. Boss, that's pathetic planning.
Yeah. See, it's almost like they played into our hands. I mean, we didn't have to do much, and the match was yours. So anyway, I think the lessons to be learned in this is that when captains and teams are making these kind of strategies, it's very difficult to play fantasy. And you have So it just shows that while we give you a team and it's like based on multiple statistics and logical reasoning and everything, you just can't decide who will open the batting now. It's like, and who will come in as a first change bowler.
Who will play ahead of whom nobody knows. We played with Junaid Khan. People wrote to us saying Shami might play, Junaid might not play. Somebody said Fahim Ashraf will play. But देखो किसी ने नहीं खेला. Many people in my league picked Ravichandran Ashwin ahead of Ravindra Jadeja. And what happened?
That is wrong reasoning. We had warned against that. We had said it won't happen. The only question was whether Hardik would play or not. And if there was one spinner to be picked up, it was going to be Jadeja. There was no doubt about it because of the all-round quality that he brings in to an ODI match.
Yes.
Ashwin technically is an all-rounder.
We talk about a test match. It's a different ball game altogether.
Absolutely. So that I think again there was a toss-up, of course, between a Kedar versus a Dinesh Karthik, but they just went for a classic ODI team, which could, you had part-time bowlers, you had the hitters, you had everything. The team was excellent because we were
not clinical. Let's be very honest.
There's no doubt about that.
Yes.
But because we have 3-4 players who can walk into the team at any time, there is going to be a problem about the final 11. 2 places, there will always be toss-ups. And I think that's going to again happen with somebody like Australia today when they take on Bangladesh. So because now suddenly after whether they gained a point or lost a point, it's a debatable thing because the match didn't get over.
Yes.
But you are now sitting at a stage where you can't afford to lose. There's no doubt.
And another washout could mean campaign all over.
Yeah, you never know because it all depends on whether you get a game or not.
Yes.
And today
the weather is okay for the time being. They are expecting scattered showers. Now, when you say scattered showers, timing nobody knows. Nobody knows the impact. Like we saw in Edgbaston. They took 3-4 rain breaks, and finally the sun came out and it was like, okay, Pakistan tab tak haar gaya tha.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's luck. CPU really can't do much about it.
Yeah, but for Australia today, I mean, this is the weakest team in the group and you need those 2 points.
And they need a big win to boost their run rate.
Absolutely.
England have done that. New Zealand have also shown the intent. You cannot completely ignore them. So let's talk Bangladesh and Australia. For starters, Chris Lynn आना चाहिए ahead of Aaron Finch. I think so.
No, he is in form. He played a decent IPL. He can hang around. He can change the tenor of a match.
And after all, he's going to be facing the Bangladeshi bowlers.
Absolutely. So even I think he should come into the team. There's no doubt about it.
But what could happen is they might play Finch and Lynn both.
And
if that happens, Henriquez will be benched.
Yeah, see, they don't need Henriquez for his batting. So there's no need to go ahead with him or keep him because you have a decent bowling attack.
Yes.
You go with your normal 4 pacers and a spinner or 5 pacers and whatever. Or you do your 4 pacers and a Maxwell and
a
head and a Root. They finish off your...
and you don't need a top-class spinner against Bangladesh.
Exactly.
I don't know why there is so much talk about... And all this is generated by the media. And only when you ask some questions, you get those answers. And it makes me very uncomfortable. When Steven Smith was doing the press conference, the talk was about Adam Zampa. Now, why did Australia get into a bad position against New Zealand? Because they were rusty. Mitchell Starc went wicketless. Pat Cummins conceded 70 runs in 9 or 10 overs. Are you telling me it's a bad bowling attack? It's just one of those bad days. Utna hi. Uske liye jaake you get Adam Zampa into the team. Then you have to replace Cummins or a Hastings. I don't think that would be... That's like you're pressing the panic button too early.
I see, if at all any team which is very calculated in the dressing room and whose match strategies can't be questioned is Australia, and they're the last to press a panic button. I don't whatever Steve might say at a press conference and all, don't go by it because I'm sure they know what they want to do. Their thought process now would be, either ways you go out there. See, when rain plays on your mind, you're always thinking, okay, in a curtail match, what is the score? When you're chasing, you need to, keep your run rate ahead of the Duckworth-Lewis
Yes.
formula. So all that's coming. But first thing would be about winning the match. Second would be about getting into a great run rate kind
That's
of
right.
thing. So I think they'll go all out with their pacers. The only change I would think is Henrique is going out and Lin coming in.
Yeah,
So you
good call.
Yeah,
Yes.
strengthen your batting up
But
there.
do you actually need to strengthen your batting against Bangladesh?
No. See, strengthening the batting in the sense is, you look at it. Warner gets out either to a great ball or
Okay, you still have a Finch, then you have a Smith, then you have a Maxwell.
But they had all that with New Zealand also, and you were on the back foot. You
Correct.
never know.
But you're talking two different attacks here. Saudi bowled different ball game altogether. So Mashrafe, Taskin, honestly.
See, honestly, Pakistan bowling attack was also great bowling attack. But what happened, So you can't expect, or you can underestimate the team in front of you. You know you will beat them. You have an edge over them on various fronts.
Yeah.
But you go with your best team and your best plan.
That's correct.
Now, what is your best plan?
Attack Bangladesh
You need a
with-
great pace attack.
Yes.
So that you have a decent fielding side. So a great pace attack can, go at the batsman from ball
Correct.
one. And you need depth in case I need to have two pinch hitters. If I'm looking at the run rate kind of thing, if I'm down to a 20-over match, I need that Lin and Finch and Warner to go after the bowling in the initial stage. So then I have a Steve Smith and a Maxwell come and steady the innings, whatever. So I'm looking at overall scenario. I want to go with the best team in the circumstances.
Yeah.
It's not about whether I'm playing Bangladesh and their bowling attack is weak. So
Circumstances. So what if Steven Smith goes out an hour before the toss? He looks at the pitch and it's all dry. Will he be tempted to play Zampa then?
No, there is no looking at any pitch in England right now, no? Because you would look at it, it's dry, and in 1 hour it's something else, and
That's
2
right.
hours later there is no
Yes,
match.
yes.
So
Now this is something the captains need to
yeah,
be very
they-
mindful
but
of.
Now they are mindful. See, the tournament is now 3 or 4 matches
Matches
deep.
old, yeah.
So it's now the tone is set. Everybody knows what's going to happen. Everybody is now calculating different scenarios. And the scenario that Australia are in is they have lost a point or they have gained a point. It's not for debate right now. They need to win both matches handsomely.
That's correct.
And
yes.
they, as a mindset also, they need to set the tone for the next match, which will be almost like a knockout match.
Oh yes, yes,
So,
yes.
So you need to, get in there, give all your players the chance to, perform or, show that they can do things, get into the right frame for. You are going in knowing you are going to win.
Yeah.
But you need to win handsomely. You need to win confidently, so that there is absolutely no scope for error in the next match. So that's what's going to happen.
Yes, and we genuinely feel they're going to play their best pace attack, which will be Mitchell Starc, Josh Hazelwood, and one of Pat Cummins or John Hastings. Talk about Bangladesh. I think they made a blunder by not playing Taskin Ahmed because he bowled wonderfully against India in the warm-up match. Again, defies logic. Rubal Hussain. You just look at the credentials, and I'm amazed. Why did they play Sunzamul Hussain or somebody, the left-arm spinner, ahead of Mehdi Hassan? Mehdi Hassan is only 18, 19, and he's been doing wonderfully well. They talk about him being the next champion spinner after Shakib. ये सारे talks चलते रहेंगे, but unless you ask him to go on the field and execute, I think he will play today. And let's also be very honest, Australia are not very comfortable against spin. I understand I'm not talking about a champion spinner here, but anybody who can come roll his arm over, you give them pace, Australia will hammer you.
Yeah.
You give them a bit of spin, a bit of variation in the pace, they might not do a lot of damage. So I think he has to be in the playing 11 along with Taskin Ahmed. I'm convinced that Rubel Hussain should not be a part of the playing 11. Batting, I don't think there is a need for any change. Tamim Iqbal scored 100. Soumya Sarkar is batting well. Shabbir Rahman is a floater. I think he should bat number 3. After that, you have the experienced campaigners in Mahmudullah, Mushfiqur Rahim and Shakib Al Hasan. Somebody wrote saying Shakib hype zyada ho gaya. somebody who has dominated the all-rounders chart for so many years, how can you make such a loose remark? Why? I mean, because last 2 mahina kharab chala Shakib ka. You just look at his numbers. He's still the best Bangladeshi cricketer ever, and he's going to bowl those 8 to 9 overs. He's going to bat number 5. I cannot omit him, CP.
No, see, we are not going by what people say. See, you have to, when you have to pick up players from the Bangladesh side, Shakib is the first you will pick. There's
Absolutely.
No doubt. Because, see, all-rounders give you those points in fantasy, and they are much coveted.
Yeah.
And if in a team like Bangladesh where you have to fight to choose 5-6 players,
correct.
I mean, Shakib just walks in.
Just walks in.
Yeah, so there is no doubt about that. He might have a very bad tournament, but that doesn't mean
okay.
You can't omit him. There's no way you can omit him.
Absolutely.
Because both with the bat and ball, he could just bring in those valuable points.
It's like saying Ravindra Jadeja ko team mein nahi lena hai. Virat Kohli. So I was amazed. Many didn't pick Virat Kohli yesterday. Can you believe it, CP? Because see how people fall into the trap of IPL numbers, and that's how it is. And they said, okay, he's not in the greatest of nick. Initially, he looked scratchy, but 81 क्या मजाक में आया क्या बाद में?
See, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, unless you look at an overall performance of a player and see Virat also, if you had 4 other players who were in top form, and you wouldn't pick Virat, but when the choice is between a Rohit Sharma, Shikhar Dhawan, Virat Kohli, Dhoni,
and let's not even talk Pakistan ka batting.
Exactly. So for fantasy, you're looking at 22 players, and you have to make 11. And when you make and there is a condition that you have to pick 4 from a team. So if it's a one-sided match like we are expecting it to be today between an Australia and Bangladesh, which are the 4 or 5 Bangladeshi players who would walk in? So,
and you also need to consider the budget.
Yeah.
Because Australian players are priced highly. Plus there is a doubt whether Finch or Lynn will play, Henry Case or anybody else will play, Hastings, Zampa, you never know. And that's why we have come up with this 11, as you can see. It's on our website, and the wicket keeper is Mushfiqur Rahim. Many wrote to us in the first match between England versus Bangladesh. We picked Rahim ahead of Butler, and some were really surprised. Kahan Butler, kahan Rahim? Why did we pick Rahim? Not because we expected him to score. I mean, he got a 50, but like CP said, 4 players zabardasti lena hi hai tumko. That is one. And then Butler didn't get a chance to bat.
Yeah,
so keeping these things, so please understand before you make suggestions, criticize karo yaar, theek hai, but you have to realize hum zabardasti karke ek cheez hota. We are not picking players for fun or any personal bias. There is a logic towards everything, and it might fail on occasions, but theek hai, doesn't matter.
Yeah. Logic is logic in the sense that it's supposed to work 90% of the time.
Yes.
And today you don't see Wade getting
a chance to bat.
Yeah, I mean, if it happens, then
Australia have batted very poorly.
Very poorly, and they might lose.
They might lose.
Yeah, it's like a collapse in the top. You're talking of Warner, Finch, Smith, Maxwell.
Oh, you can go on and on.
I mean, it's going to be very difficult for them. So
and that's why we pick Rahim as our keeper. All-rounders, those utility cricketers, Maxwell, Head. If Zampa doesn't play, these two are going to bowl 10 or 12 between them. They are going to bat 5 and 6. Shakib, universal pick. You talk about bowling, like I said, Mehdi Hassan remains a pick. Mitchell Stark and Josh Hazelwood, they just walk into any fantasy team. And batting, David Warner, Steven Smith is there. We've got Tamim Iqbal and Shabir Rahman. Our captain, I genuinely get this feeling David Warner aaj ek dhamaka karne wala hai for 2 reasons. One is the pitch is very flat at the oval. Number 2, he's not facing a very menacing attack. So what makes you feel कि आज David Warner नहीं मारेगा?
No, see, when you look Australia, it's Warner and Smith. There's
Warner and Smith.
Yeah.
Safe as a house, Steven Smith. In fact, what you might say, I mean, we did one of the sliders, points to remember before creating a team and what you should look at before picking a player. So if somebody, in the fantasy portal, you get a number saying 10 points, 12 points. Now, this can be very misleading. If somebody didn't play the ODI, New Zealand and Australia ODI, he might say, okay, मेरे को मालूम नहीं Steven Smith ने क्या किया, only 10 points, okay, I'm not picking him. But what you don't know is he blasted 4 boundaries, I think the best 4 boundaries of the tournament in testing conditions against Bolt, Adam Milne and Tim Southee. He was the only guy who remained not out, 43 for 3. तो तुमको पता है कि points कैसे आया. So these are the mistakes you have to avoid. And Steven Smith, ये सब कोई भी condition हो यार, I mean, he's a champion batsman and we go with him. It's as simple as that. You might say, okay, you want to pick a Finch because you might believe Australia could be 100 for no loss. Possible, which is possible. But we go for safety, like I always say. So good. That's our team, good. CP.
Yeah, even the Bangladeshi batsmen, have to, the fact remains that 2 of them, in whatever circumstance, even if they are losing, will perform. And and you then, when you look at it, you have to pick the best 2 out of them.
Absolutely.
So that completes your batting lineup also.
Yes. And it's a very safe team. I think all 11 should play. Till now, apna sara 11 players खेल चुके हैं. Yesterday, we could not help because too many factors. Probable 11 नहीं मालूम था. Budget was an issue. So, unfortunately, 1 player didn't play. So, that's it, guys. You can read our fantasy column. It's there on our website, thefangarage.com. Write to us, suggestion, criticism, जो भी करना है. अगर constructive हो तो बड़ा अच्छा लगेगा. That's TFG Fantasy 11 on Twitter. TFG Fantasy Pundit on Facebook. And obviously, you can listen to our podcast on YouTube. So, till the time we meet you for the next matches between, I think, New Zealand and England, if I'm not wrong. Take care. CP Thomas, you want to say anything?
कुछ नहीं, आराम से मैच देखो, one-sided है. Yeah.
And hope it doesn't rain.
I know it. Yeah, that's the only thing. I mean, you don't want teams like Australia and all, to suffer because of rain. You want Australia in the last 4. There is no doubt about it.
Yes.
Because
and they have the team too.
Yeah, they have the team, and because finally what's happening is Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Pakistan, they're already feeling the pressure. I think they're getting onto the ground also.
Sri Lanka were 100 for 2, and what happened from there?
Yeah.
Experience. Imran Tahir again, 4 wickets.
Yeah. So that's the thin line between confidence and getting onto the ground, knowing that you're overawed by the team in front of you, which is what's the problem with somebody like a Bangladesh.
Yeah.
They just need to go there and play fearless cricket. They have actually nothing to lose.
Yeah. Nobody's going to blame them if they don't make the cut. Yeah. Anyway, cheers guys, happy fantasy, bye.
एक्सक्यूज मी भैया, एक्सक्यूज मी.
बोलिए मैडम.
मेन्यू में क्या है?
मेन्यू में सीन अनसीन है, पॉडकास्ट है, ऑन कोर्स है, साइरस है, मेड इन इंडिया, रीडिस्कवरी प्रोजेक्ट, एम्पावरिंग सीरीज, सेक्स वैक्स है, IVM लाइक्स है, सिंप्लीफाइड है, कीपिंग इट क्वियर है, ड्रिंक्स एंड डेस्टिनेशन है, माय नेबर सकरबर्ग है और द फैन गराज है. आपको क्या चाहिए?
एक बार रिपीट कर देंगे क्या?
रिपीट नहीं करता हम. आप जाओ IVMpodcast.com पे और सुनो ये सब, या फिर डाउनलोड करो उनका ऐप, सब आपकी उंगलियों पे.